Hello students, this is Lohita. So here we are into zoology NEET class. Today we are going to learn few more concepts related to principles of inheritance and variation. So in the previous class we were learning about sex determination in case of human beings. We have learned it completely. So today we are going to learn about sex determination in honeybees. Okay. Today we are going to learn about sex determination in case of honeybees. Sex determination in honeybees. See students, in case of honeybees and also some other hymenopteran insects. Okay, honeybees also belong to hymenopteran insects. In some of the hymenopteran insects also, like in case of honeybees, ants and wasps. Okay, honeybees, ants and wasps, these are having a different kinds of sex determination, not the normal one, like we have seen the presence of sex chromosomes is not seen in case of this hymenopteran insects. So here the sex of the individual is determined by the number of sets of chromosomes. Okay, in case of hymenopteran insects like honeybees, ants and wasps, we are going to determine the sex of the individual by the number of sets of chromosomes. Okay, here in this case using the number of sets of chromosomes, using the number of sets of chromosomes, the sex of the individual is determined. The sex of the individual is determined. Okay, how is the sex of the individual determined? By checking the number of sets of chromosomes. Okay, so in case of honeybees or any other hymenopteran insects, the sex is determined by number of sets of chromosomes, right? So if the individual is having 2 sets of chromosomes, okay, if the individual is diploid, that means having 2 sets of chromosomes, that is having a condition 2n, then that individual is definitely a female individual. Okay, if the individual is haploid, having only 1 set of chromosomes, having only n, then this individual is said to be a male. Okay, diploid means female, haploid means male. Okay, so by checking if the individual is diploid or haploid, we can determine the sex of the individual. Okay, so this type of sex determination we are checking for if the individual is diploid or haploid. This type of sex determination is called as haplodiploidy. Okay, this type of sex determination is called haplodiploidy. This type of sex determination is called as haplodiploidy. Depending upon the condition, if the individual is haploid or if it is diploid, we are going to determine the sex of the individual. Okay, so let us now learn why is this haploid condition found in males, why is this diploid condition found in females. Okay, see, you know, in case of these hymenopteran insects, females are formed by fertilization. Okay, females are formed from the fertilized eggs. Females are formed from the fertilized eggs. Okay, females are formed from the fertilized eggs. In case of these hymenopteran insects, females are formed from the fertilized eggs, whereas males are formed from the unfertilized eggs. Unfertilized eggs, they form the male individuals. From the unfertilized eggs, males are going to form. So here in this case, males are formed from the unfertilized eggs. This condition is called as parthenogenesis. Okay, parthenogenesis means males are formed from the unfertilized eggs. So development of a young individual from an unfertilized eggs is called as parthenogenesis. So here in this case, males are exhibiting parthenogenesis, that means males are developing from the unfertilized eggs. Okay, so this is parthenogenesis. Okay, so students, here, you know, in case of honeybees we are learning, right? So in case of honeybees, actually there are three types of honeybees are present. In case of honeybees, there are 3 different types of individuals. They are called as queen bee, worker bee and drones. Okay, so this queen bee and worker bee, both of them are females, whereas the drones are males. Okay, the drones are males. So this queen bee and worker bees, these are females, right? So these two are formed from the fertilized eggs. These females are formed from the fertilized eggs. Okay, whereas these drones are males, so these are formed from the unfertilized eggs. Drones are formed from the unfertilized eggs. Females are formed from fertilized eggs, that means queen and the worker bees are formed from the fertilized eggs. The drones, that is the males, they are formed from the unfertilized eggs. Okay. So here generally, you know, during reproduction, only queen bee it will produce the eggs. Queen bee only lays the eggs. Okay, during reproduction, only queen bee will be laying the eggs. Let us see how these bees are reproducing. What is the condition of their chromosomes? Let us learn in detail now. Okay. So this queen bee is the one which lays the eggs. Queen bee is the female which is laying the eggs. Queen bee is a female which lays the eggs. Okay. So when these eggs are fertilized by the drones, okay, the males are drones, right? Drones are males. So if these males are fertilizing these eggs, if the males are fertilizing these eggs, then these eggs, they will become, if they are undergoing fertilization, then they will result into females. Okay. If the eggs are fertilized, then they will result in females. And if these eggs are unfertilized, okay, if the eggs are unfertilized, if these eggs are not fertilized, then these eggs will result in the formation of males. So here you observe in case of honeybees that in the formation of females, males are involved, because males have to fertilize the egg, then only females will be produced, right. So in the formation of females, males are involved, because the sperm has to fertilize the egg produced by the females, then only females will be produced. Whereas in case of formation of males, males are not involved. Males are not involved. Just the unfertilized eggs is going to give rise to males. So in the formation of males, there is no involvement of male individuals. Okay. So students, here in this case, males, they don't have a father. They don't have a father. They don't have a father. They have only mother. They have only mother. Okay, they have only, the males, they have don't have a father, they just have a mother only. Okay, whereas these males, they can be a grandfather, and they can be a grandson. They can be a grandfather or they can be a grandson. They can be a grandfather because from the female from which this male is produced, it will definitely have a father, right, because these males are produced from a female, and these females will definitely have a father. Yes, males are produced from the females, unfertilized eggs of the females. So this mother of this male individual will definitely have a father. So the males, they are having a grandfather, or they are a grandson. Okay, they have a grandson. They have a grandson because they will contribute to the formation of a female. This female can have sons, right. These male individuals, they can contribute to the formation of females, and those females, they can have a son. So in that way, they can have a grandson. Okay. So females, so these male individuals, they don't have a father, they just have only a mother. They can be a grandfather, they can be a son. Okay. They cannot contribute to the formation of males. They cannot have sons. They cannot have sons. Okay, they don't have sons because male individuals are not involved in the formation of males, so they don't have sons. These are the points that you need to remember for neat point of view from this concept. Males, they don't have a father, they don't have a son. They just have a mother, they can have a grandfather and a grandson, okay, because they are produced from the females who are having a father, right, and these they can contribute to the formation of a female individuals who can have sons, right. So in that way they don't have a father, they have only mother, they can be a grandfather, they can be a grandson, they cannot have the sons, okay. This is about male individuals, okay. See, all fertilized eggs will result in the formation of females, right. All fertilized eggs will form females. All fertilized eggs will form females. But these females are of two different classes, right. The first one is queen bee, okay, and the second one is worker bee. Both are females only. Queen bee is a female, worker bee is also a female. So when is a female becoming a queen bee? When is it becoming a worker bee? Those females, those individuals, those females in the very early stages of development, if they are fed with royal jelly, it's some kind of a special food material that is given to the young bees, okay. So if in the developmental stages, if the queen bee is fed, if the bee which is fed with royal jelly, the bee which is fed with royal jelly, it is a special type of food given to the developing bees, okay. If they are fed with royal jelly, then they will become a queen bee. If the bees they are fed with pollen and nectar, they will become worker bees. The bees which are fed with pollen and nectar, they will become worker bees, okay. Those bees which are fed with royal jelly will become queen bees. Those bees which are fed with pollen and nectar will become the worker bees, okay. So in that way the different category of the female scale will be decided, okay. Now let us see about the daughter individuals, how these are reproducing, okay. What will be the condition during reproduction. So students, generally the haploid set of chromosomes found in honeybees is generally 16, okay. The haploid set of chromosomes in honeybees is 16. So now the number of chromosomes in a female will be 32 because they are diploid, right, because the females are diploid, the number of chromosomes in female is 32, okay. Whereas the number of chromosomes in male, the number of chromosomes in a male individual who is haploid, the number of chromosome in this individual will be 16. The number of chromosomes in this individual will be 16, okay. So how are they going to give rise to the females with the 32 chromosomes? Females have 32, males have 16. So during reproduction, this females, they will produce the eggs. Females produce eggs by meiosis. Females produce eggs by meiosis, okay. Females, they will be producing eggs by meiosis. So the egg produced by the female consists of because it is produced by meiosis, it is going to become haploid. Egg consists of only 16 chromosomes. Egg consists of only 16 chromosomes because the females are producing eggs by meiosis. The eggs contain only 16 chromosomes, okay. Whereas males, see, they are having only 16 chromosomes, but they have to contribute to the 32 chromosomal condition of the females, right. So for that reason, these males, they are producing the sperms by mitosis. They are producing the sperms by mitosis, okay. During mitosis, the number of chromosomes is not going to change, right. So as a result of which the sperms, they contain as usual 16 chromosomes, okay. When the egg and sperm are getting fertilized, then the normal diploid condition 32 chromosomes will be attained in the females, okay. If egg and sperms are fertilized, then egg plus sperm, which is during fertilization, will give rise to 32 chromosomes, which is the condition of a female, okay. If the egg is unfertilized, egg is unfertilized, then it is going to give rise to 16 chromosomes as in case of males. So, this will be a male individual. Okay. So, here we observe that the female individuals are contributing only, the female is contributing only 50% of the total chromosomes. For daughter individuals, female is contributing only 50% of the total chromosomes, whereas the male individuals are contributing 100% of their chromosomes. Males are contributing 100% of their chromosomes. Females are contributing only 50% of their chromosomes, whereas male is contributing 100% of their chromosomes. Okay. So, for that reason, see, out of 100% possibility, females are giving only 50%, right? Females are giving only 50%. So, out of possible 100%, females are giving only 50%, right? Out of possible 100%, females are giving only 50%. So, 100 plus 100 possible, it is 200%. Out of 200%, 50% plus 100% is given. This is the possible one, right? So, female may contribute 100%, male is contributing 100%. So, it will be possible 200%. But female is contributing only 50% and male is contributing 100%. So, it will be 150%, right? So, this is the one which is occurring in practical. Okay, 150 condition is the one which is occurring in practical. So, this 150% similarities will be seen in case of daughter individuals. That means, the daughter individuals, so out of 200% possible, the daughter individuals are having 150%. So, the offsprings, you know, the offsprings they share 3/4 similarities. The offsprings they share 3/4 similarities with each other. Generally, in the normal case, the offsprings they will be sharing half similarities, 50% similarities they will be sharing. But here they are sharing 3/4 similarities. That means the daughter individuals they will be sharing 75% similarities with each other. The daughter individuals they will be sharing 75% similarities with each other. Okay. So, this is the determination of sex in case of honeybees. Okay. Now, we are going to learn about sex linked inheritance. Sex linked inheritance. Okay. So, students, you know, there are some crosses in which the results of the crosses are same in the reciprocal crosses. Reciprocal crosses means opposite crosses. Like for example, we are taking any character, if we are considering it for females in one case and we are considering it for males in the other case. Okay. Like for example, the eye color. Okay. First we take female who is color blind and we are crossing male who is normal. Okay. So, and in this is one cross, and the reciprocal cross means we will take the male as color blind and female as normal. So, these are reciprocal crosses. So, this is the first cross and the second one is a reciprocal cross. That means, we are doing the sexes, we are making it opposite. The same characters, we are making the sexes to be opposite. So, first we have taken male color blind, female color blind, then we have taken male normal. In the second case, we took male color blind and female normal. So, in this way, this type of crosses are called as reciprocal crosses. Reciprocal crosses. Okay. So, students, if the results of the reciprocal cross, crosses are same, okay, that means in both the cases, if the results are same, okay, in some cases the results of the reciprocal crosses are same. In some cases, the results of the reciprocal crosses are different. Okay. In some cases, the results of the reciprocal crosses are different. So, in the first case, if the results of the reciprocal crosses are same, that means the the gene controlling this character is present on the autosomes. Okay, that means that the gene which is controlling this particular character is present on the autosomes. Okay, if the results of the reciprocal crosses are same, that means the gene controlling this particular character is present on the autosomes. If the results of the reciprocal crosses are different, that means the genes which are present on this, the genes which are controlling this character are present on the allosomes. They are present on the allosomes. Allosomes are nothing but sex chromosomes. Okay. So, students, here the inheritance of the genes which are present on the sex chromosomes. Okay. The inheritance of the genes which are present on the sex chromosomes but not related to any sex characteristics is called as sex linked inheritance. Okay. This gene is present on the sex chromosomes. Yes, it is present on the sex chromosomes, but it is not controlling any sex related characteristic feature. Okay, but it is not controlling any sex related characteristic feature. Okay, that kind of inheritance is called sex linked inheritance. The genes are present on the sex chromosomes, Okay, the genes are present on the sex chromosomes, but the genes are present on the sex chromosomes, but they are controlling the characters which are not related to the sex, Okay. So, the genes are present in the sex chromosomes, but they are controlling the characters which are not controlling the sex. So, the inheritance of such genes is called as sex linked inheritance. The inheritance of such genes is called as sex linked inheritance. The inheritance of such genes is called sex linked inheritance. The genes are present on the sex chromosomes, yes, but the genes are controlling the characters other than the sex characteristic features. That type of inheritance is called as sex linked inheritance. Okay, the sex chromosomes only contain these genes, but these genes are not controlling any sex related characters. Okay, so generally Y chromosomes they control the characters related to males only. Okay, Y chromosomes they generally control the characters related to males. Okay, they control the characters related to males sex determination. They are involved in determining the male sex. Okay, Y chromosomes are generally involved in determining the male sex. But X chromosomes are the ones which generally carry sex unrelated genes. Okay, X chromosomes are the ones which generally carry sex unrelated genes. X chromosomes are the ones which generally carry sex unrelated genes. Okay, so let us learn more about this sex linked inheritance. Okay. So, because as I have told you that the sex unrelated genes, that is the sex linked but the sex unrelated genes are present mostly on the X chromosome, right. So, students generally because the sex linked genes are present on the X chromosome. Okay, the sex linked genes mostly are present on the X chromosome. The sex linked genes are mostly present on the X chromosome, right. So, here the inheritance of character and the inheritance of the sex linked genes is more common in male individuals. Okay, so whatever this inheritance of the sex linked genes, the effects will be more the effects will be more clear in males, okay, because you know the male individuals, they contain only one X chromosome. Male individuals, they contain only one X chromosome. So definitely that X chromosome will definitely give its effect. That is why males are mostly affected with the sex linked chromosomes. Males are mostly affected because this X chromosomes generally contain the sex linked genes, and these X chromosomes are only one in male individuals. So males are definitely affected with this sex linked inheritance, okay. So females will be generally in the sex linked inheritance, it can be dominant or recessive. It can be dominant or recessive. This X linked inheritance, it can be dominant or recessive. It can be dominant or recessive. Mostly recessive only, but this is mostly recessive only. In this recessive condition, females are generally not affected. Females are not affected generally, or they will be carriers, for this gene. Okay, females are generally not affected by this X-linked X-linked recessive inheritance, but they may be carriers. Okay, but males are affected. Okay, some of the very common disorders caused due to this X-linked recessive inheritance is some of the most common disorders caused due to this X-linked recessive inheritance is color blindness and hemophilia. These are the very common examples which are caused due to X-linked inheritance. Color blindness and hemophilia are caused due to X-linked inheritance. Okay, so X-linked recessive inheritance is very common, students. So we will learn about the characters shown by X-linked recessive inheritance first. Okay, so in case of X-linked recessive inheritance, okay, here this generally follows a crisscross pattern of inheritance. Here it generally shows crisscross pattern of inheritance. Crisscross pattern of inheritance is nothing but generally in this case, crisscross pattern of inheritance is in the sense generally in this case males are affected and females will be carriers. Generally. Okay, females will be carriers. So these male individuals are affected, females will be generally carriers. This is called crisscross pattern of inheritance because you know in this from these males who are affected, 50% of their grandsons will be affected. 50% of their grandsons will be affected. Okay, from an affected male, if the males are affected, then 50% of their grandsons will be affected. That means if the males are contributing to formation of females, right? Males will give rise to females. The females are not affected, but in the third generation, the 50% of the grandsons are affected. From an affected male, the daughter individuals are not affected. 50% of their grandsons will be affected. That means in the next generation, immediately after males, there is no expression of this character, and in the third generation, in the grandsons generation, 50% of the grandsons will be affected. Okay, and the females will be generally carriers. Females are generally carriers. Females are carriers generally. Females, if they are carriers, then nearly 50% of the sons will be affected. 50% of their sons will be affected. Okay. If males are affected, then females will be the carriers. Sons will be absolutely normal. Females will be the carriers. Okay. If females are affected, then all the sons will be affected. And daughters will be normal. all the daughters, they will be normal. All the sons will be affected, all the daughters will be normal. Okay. So, these are the different characters shown by the X-linked recessive inheritance, which is the most common pattern of sex-linked inheritance. Okay. And few more things to learn about this sex-linked inheritance is, inheritance of this inheritance of these characters, okay, inheritance of this gene, inheritance of this genes directly from a mother to a daughter, directly from a female to a daughter, from a female to its daughter, it is called as hologynic, okay, hologynic inheritance. It is called hologynic inheritance. Inheritance of the genes from the females directly to their daughters is called as hologynic inheritance. Okay. Whereas inheritance of these sex-linked genes, inheritance of these sex-linked genes from a male to his sons directly is called as holandric inheritance. It is called holandric inheritance. Okay. So, this is all about sex-linked inheritance. Okay. Now, let us learn sex-limited inheritance, sex-limited inheritance. Okay. So, students, this genes controlling this sex limited inheritance are not present on the allosomes. They are not present on the allosomes. Instead, the genes controlling this sex limited inheritance are present on the autosomes only. Okay. The genes for the sex limited inheritance, the genes for the sex limited inheritance are present on the autosomes only, are present on the autosomes only. Okay. But here in this sex limited inheritance, the expression of the phenotype, the expression of the phenotype, the expression of the phenotype is limited by the sex, is limited by the sex. It is sex limited inheritance, no. So, the expression of the phenotypes is limited by the sex of the individual because of the internal hormonal environment of the individual, because of the internal hormonal environment in the individuals, because of the internal hormonal environment in the individuals. Okay. Let us learn the examples like the development of beard in males, beard in males, growth of breasts and secretion of milk, secretion of milk in case of females. These are the examples for sex limited inheritance. Okay. Growth of beard in males, growth of breasts and secretion of milk in females are the examples for sex limited inheritance. Okay. So, these are the genes present on the autosomes only. The expression of the phenotype is limited by the sex because of the internal hormonal environment. Okay. Now, we are going to learn about sex influenced inheritance, sex influenced inheritance. Sex influenced inheritance, the genes for the sex influenced inheritance are also present on the autosomes. Okay. The genes for this sex influenced inheritance are also present on the autosomes. Okay. They are also present on the autosomes, but the expression of the phenotype is influenced by the sex. Okay. But the expression of this phenotype of genes, expression of the phenotype of these genes, expression of the phenotype is influenced by the sex of the individual, mainly because of the internal hormonal environment created by the sex hormones, mainly because of the internal environment created by the sex hormones. Okay, mainly because the internal environment created by the sex hormones, the expression of this phenotype is influenced by the sex of the individuals. So to simply say, in the heterozygous condition, these genes, they will behave differently in males and females. Okay, in heterozygous condition, these genes behave differently. These genes, they will be behaving differently in males and females. These genes, they will be behaving differently in males and in females. Okay, the examples are like pattern baldness in human beings, pattern baldness in human beings, pattern baldness in human beings, and development of horns in Dorset horn sheep, development of horns in Dorset horn sheep. Okay, let us take the example of pattern baldness in human beings. So students, capital B, this condition is a non-bald. Okay, non-bald condition, capital B. Okay, bald condition, small b. Here generally capital B is a dominant allele because it is non-bald. Small b is a recessive allele because it is a bald. So what will happen, ma? Capital B, small b will be the daughter individual. This capital B, small b, if this is a female individual, if this capital B is, I will just make it more clear. Okay, capital B are the alleles from this, genes from gametes from these, small b are the gametes from these. So capital B, small b, these are the possible ones, right? Any of capital B, small b and only form. So if this capital B, small b is a female, this capital B is becoming dominant, this capital B becomes dominant, and this results in non-bald female. This results in non-bald in females. Whereas in case of, if this is an individual is a male, then capital B, small b, here capital B will also be, it is becoming ineffective, and this individual, though it is heterozygous for the alleles, this individual is going to be bald. This individual is going to be bald. So in this case you can observe capital B, small b is non-bald and capital B, small b is bald. In case of females it is non-bald, in case of males it is bald. Okay, if the females are bald also, if we just take the example when females are bald, okay, capital B, small b is crossed with capital B, small b. So if this is the crossing, then we get capital B, small b, right? So the daughter individuals will be like capital B, small b, capital B, small b, capital B, small b, small b. Okay, capital B, capital B, small b, capital B, small b, small b. This will be the daughter individuals. So let us see what if this is the male. Okay, if these are male individuals, capital B will be a non-bald, capital B, small b will be a bald, capital B, small b will be a bald, and small b will be also a bald. Okay, will be also a bald. So in case of males, bald is to non-bald ratio will be like 3:1. Bald is to non-bald ratio will be like 3:1. Okay. If these individuals are females, if these individuals are all females, capital B will be a non-bald, capital B, small b will be a non-bald, capital B, small b will be also a non-bald, and small b will be bald. Okay, but even though generally in case of bald males, the hair on the head will be completely lost. Okay, they will have very less hair. But in case of females, if they are bald, the hair is not lost completely. There will be just thinning of hair in females. Okay, there will be just thinning of hair in females, whereas in males complete loss of hair will be there. Okay, so here in case of females, bald is to non-bald ratio will be like, bald is to non-bald ratio, only 1 bald and 3 are non-bald, right? So 1:3, this will be the ratio of bald is to non-bald in case of female individuals. In that way, sex is influencing the expression of the phenotypes because of the internal hormonal environment created by the sex hormones. Sex is influencing the expression of some of the genes, that is called as sex influenced inheritance. Okay. So students, that's all for today ma. So here in today's class we have learnt about how the sex is determined in case of honeybees we have learnt, and we have learnt about sex linked inheritance, sex limited inheritance and sex influenced inheritance. Okay, we have also learnt about the general characters shown by these different types of inheritance patterns. Okay, in tomorrow's class we will continue to learn more about these principles of inheritance and variation. That's all for today. Thank you all for joining the class today. We'll meet again in the next class. Thank you all.